Alright, let's go ahead and talk about a mainstay on this channel. Really, really dumb hate preachers. Why do these people do the things they do? I don't know. I have no idea. I feel sometimes as though when you're meeting a hate preacher, it is a combination of hiding behind their Bible to justify bigotry and also believing that their bigotry is justified because it comes from the Bible. Basically the difference between they were a bigot before the Bible and they were a bigot because of the Bible. I think it's a weird combination of both sometimes. And it makes it really hard, because, like, every time you hit the justifications outside the Bible, you end up getting the biblical justifications. And then when you undermine the justifications inside the Bible, they'll hide back onto more secular justifications. We've seen Mike Winger do this. Though I wouldn't call him a hate preacher in the same way that some of these people are. So let's maybe go ahead and get into this right after we go into fan art, as per usual. So, from The Atheist Mando, a piece that has apparently been in the works for a long time. I've actually got several updates on this that have been posted onto the Discord over time. But we now have the completed Mandalorian Suris, with hammer emblem and everything. So, that is certainly a thing. Apparently, I know from experience this is supposed to be a rocket. My headcanon now is that it's a rocket with a hammerhead at the front, so it can just pulverize people. That is my headcanon. More than anything. That said, let's go ahead and turn that up just a little bit, because I've had that turned down for the last episode, because I'm an idiot. And let's go ahead and get into some hate preachers, because these people exist. Apparently, this guy says that if you're an evolutionist, you have to be against same-sex unions. Let's go ahead and see what kind of logic is on display here. Yes, Right Wing Watch, we know you grabbed the content. Let's go ahead and take a look.
When two people of the same sex get together, it's out of sheer wanton lust and pleasure only.
He's never met an ace person. This man has never met an asexual person in his life. This man has never met somebody who is sex repulsed, either. This man apparently thinks that it must be for sexual lust. I guess he doesn't realize that, like, legitimate love can come from a gay relationship. I guess that's just not a thing in his mind. Let's keep him from meeting more people. Yeah, maybe he should just find a good closet and hide in it, seeing as his rhetoric literally leads to multiple people being inside closets.
For self. Nothing comes of it.
Nothing comes of it? So the last time I had sex, I came. That came from it. I'm not gonna say how long it took, because that'd be personally embarrassing, but all in all, it happened. Something did in fact come from it. On a less joking level, on a more legitimate level, do you think people only have sex to get people pregnant? Do you think people only have sex in order to, like, make babies? Because plenty of people have sex just to show love. Sometimes people have sex for pleasure. I mean, I'm sure you're going to dismiss that on, case of it being lust. But plenty of people have sex just because they love their partner, and it's a bonding experience for them. What happened to the fucking biblical passages that say that, your time with your wife is sacred? What happened to all of that? Markman Ea, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an ow. So no, I don't understand this idea that sex cannot be there for love. Especially as somebody who's demisexual, and it's like super fucking hard for me to enjoy that kind of encounter with somebody if I don't already have a massive amount of love towards them first. That was a thing I discovered, oddly enough, at a swingers party. But my failures in the past aside, learning that has caused me to have a little much more appreciation over, sex as a communicatory mechanism for love. The idea that it must only be lust because it doesn't make babies is fucking ludicrous to me.
No life can come from it. No family can come from it.
So, man, I want to make a bad joke. Can I make a bad joke? Can I make a... no, we're not gonna make a bad joke. I was gonna make an Alabama joke, but we're not gonna do it. Something, family coming in Alabama. But no, we're not gonna make that particular joke here. What we are gonna say is, you know that they can adopt, right? By this logic, by this man's logic, if I get a vasectomy, or something happens and I'm infertile, randomly, it's not even my, not even what I want to do, and I have vigorous, passionate sex, not with my hand this time, but actually with my partner, according to this man's, this is only an act of lust. I'm not doing it for love. I'm not doing it because I love my partner. I'm not doing it to deepen my experiences with my loved one. I am doing it merely because of unbridled, unadulterated lust. And that's it. That's all it can be. This dude seems like he spreads butter with a spoon. I've never heard that before. Oh my god. But, truth be told, when I hear shit like this, it feels like it delegitimizes people who are infertile. Now, I know I mentioned Mike Winger before. When I had the conversation with Mike Winger with Ocean ages ago, one of the things I brought up, because he tried to pull this kind of argument, right? This, quote, secular argument against homosexuality, and I tried to point out that, what about couples who are heterosexual but infertile? Is that not legitimate then? And when he tried to defend that point, of course he got saved by James, because this was before James learned to back the fuck off in conversations like that. What he got saved from was the further question, what is the fucking difference? If the mechanic that you are upset about is the fact that you cannot procreate, and this is a heterosexual couple here who are categorically in the position of not being able to procreate, then what is the actual fucking problem? Because it's obviously not the procreation. You brought that in as fluff, as a way to convince me without using your Bible, because you don't know how to do it without your fucking Bible. I'm British60. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But let's continue the video.
Let me insert this. If you're an evolutionist.
I'm just going to say this right now. That is terrible phrasing! We have been talking about coming. Never say this after I say anything about coming.
Let me insert this.
That is what you said on your honeymoon with your wife, and I never want to hear it ever again. Just fucking... I never want to hear a preacher, while talking about sex, lean into the microphone. Let me insert this. God, it sounds like Nicolas Cage coming on to you.
If you're an evolutionist, you have to be against same-sex union.
Nope. Have you ever considered the potential evolutionary benefit of curbing overpopulation by increasing the amount of homosexual people that pop up? Have you considered that? Have you considered that in a world, and I believe we've actually seen this in some species, like with spiders, when they get overpopulated, some of them actually end up having, like, aspects of homosexuality. And we see it more, like, as they overpopulate. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm fairly certain that I remember reading that at some point. It's so weird to me. It's so weird to me to hear this point that, like, if you believe in evolution, which just means believe in consensus of science, that you have to be against homosexuality. Well, no. Literally, all the arguments against homosexuality are non-secular. They're non-scientific. They're ideological. They are always ideological. Even when they think they're evidential, they're ideological. And we dealt with that way back when we covered the secular argument for against homosexuality video. When we covered that one, we went through point by point all these and boiled them back down to ideological. So to try to come here and say if you believe in evidential shit, you have to also take this ideological position, that's bullshit.
If you're an evolutionist, and by the way, where have been the evolutionists on this topic?
We've been fighting for gay rights. We've been fighting for trans rights. Revexer, thank you very much for redeeming your points for OWO rights. Thank you very much.
Because, listen, if you're an evolutionist, what is one of the statements? It's the survival of the fittest.
Yeah, you're looking at evolution as an ideological position that has axioms, that has talking points. It's not that. It is a scientific theory. It is also a fact. It is an observable fact with a series of facts that congregate together to create what we know as a theory in the scientific realm. That is what it is. It is not an ideological position that one holds. There are some ideologies that subscribe to social versions of it, and there's where your survival of the fittest shit generally comes in. But using that kind of nomenclature to try to argue against a scientific position is stupid.
Right? And in evolutionary theory, the survival of the fittest has to procreate. That's why you watch, they study all the animals.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Let me go ahead and explain a very... I'm making this up hypothetically, but I'm sure this probably exists somewhere in the animal kingdom. Can we explain a society where, like, there are meek males and there are meek females, but then there are homosexual men and women who... Even asexual, just say they just don't... They're repulsed, they don't care about sex at all, but they end up being the bigger and stronger ones. Wouldn't them being able to, like, defend a village... literally be an evolutionary benefit to protecting the meeker ones that can't survive on their own, that can procreate, to make the village? Like, literally, if some kind of gene trigger was there that made you stronger, but it also made one more inclined to not want sex, or just more inclined to be infertile, even, they would serve the function, adaptationally, of defending the tribe, as it were, and the meek would still be able to do what they needed to do to procreate and create more people. Like, this is just a hypothetical out of my ass, and I'm sure there's actual, if I were to sit down and research, examples of this in the animal kingdom. You don't need to take this ideological position, dude. LGB defend the tribe, so basically Sparta. Well, you know what? Sometimes history has your best examples.
Animals, and there's the big elk, you know, the big bull elk. And what does he have to do every spring? He has to take on the young elks, beat them up.
Why?
And the strong one, by natural selection, the strong one survives. He impregnates all the other elkies.
Elkies? Wait, are you seriously trying to... Okay, so let me go ahead and explain what this sounds like for people, right? Okay. When you do... And I know this is not necessarily his... this isn't necessarily his point. I'm not trying to strawman his point. This is not his point, but this is the message that's communicated to me when you word it this way. Divorced from your intent, when you say evolutionists believe in survival of the fittest, and then your example of survival of the fittest is an elk killing their young so that the best one can go fuck over all the women, it sounds like your version of an evolutionist is somebody who will slaughter children and is also violently misogynistic. I know that's not his point, but I want to point out that that was the first thing my brain went to, and if it's the first thing my brain went to, there's probably at least one other person in that audience, if not more, who thought the same thing, got the same image in their head. And that creates a few problems for me, because now you're strawmanning a scientific concept with a very, very reductive idea of what it is, and then taking that reductive idea to create an analogy that ends up in people who believe in it fucking kill children. Porkin Morkin, thank you for popping in, and popping in with the very specifically correct thing on this channel. OWO is the correct way to be.
Does? Elkettes? I don't know. And so he looks over his harem, and they're all producing babies, and he's like, yes! And evolutionists say, right on! That's it, see? It's an action!
That is so loud. That is really loud.
But if evolution's true, then there would be no such thing as homosexuality.
No, not necessarily. I have a question, sir. I have a question. Functionally, for evolution, right? For evolution, functionally, as far as the gene pool is concerned, as far as the ability to pass down genes is concerned, what is the difference in your example between every one of those elks except the one being gay? If them being gay will stop them from procreating, what is the difference between them being gay and being killed? The end result is they don't procreate, and the end result is the one elk impregnates all the girls, and then that gene line gets passed down the exact same way. Functionally, everything operates completely identically in this scenario, as far as the way genes are passed down. Why does it need the child murder? If you have enough people in a society where you don't have to have everybody fucking like rabbits constantly to keep enough people alive and keep the gene pool stable, you can afford to have enough homosexual people. And especially in your example, you only need one heterosexual male. That's all you need. Every other male can fuck off and fuck each other. Your example's horrible, dude. And I understand there's one functional difference in his scenario and mine, and that is food consumption. But food consumption was not what was brought up in his scenario. So while there is a difference in the amount of elks that would be in this tribe, insofar as food that would be consumed, there are also more elks, we'll just call them people at this point, there are also more people to gather food, so it's not as much of an issue as it might seem there. This dude's got an obsession with elks, though. I wonder if he thinks he's an elk, and therefore he can beat people, so that he can rise up and be the dominant male and fuck all the women. I don't know.
That's right. Because over the last 400 trillion...
Listen to all the fucking people in the audience going, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. Jesus Christ.
Billion, zillion, quadbillion, zillion, nillion years... evolution would have washed that out.
No, not really. Mutations are random, my dude. Evolution isn't about... You're thinking of evolution like in a Lamarckian sense, where things get better over time. That's not how things work. There isn't a ladder where people get better and better and better and better and better. That's not how fucking evolution works. What happens is we have random-ass mutations, and some of those mutations end up being beneficial for adaptation. Some mutations end up increasing the likelihood in which a gene will be passed down through the gene pool. For instance, if you have birds who have to survive off of ants, the birds with the longer beaks to reach into anthills without getting bitten and potentially killed by being poisoned by a bunch of ants, those birds are more likely to procreate because those birds are going to survive more feeding sessions to procreate. That adaptation can be completely random, but it is also then completely random that they manage to pass down that gene, but that adaptation stays. That's why that happens. That's how that works. There are plenty of mutations that are not beneficial for us as humans that we've had. Think of the various ways in which we get cancer. Like, there's tons of shit that has been passed down that is not beneficial for us. Think of the way our dental works. Quick tangent. Isn't it funny that, like, dental is considered a luxury? Even in places like Canada, you don't get dental as part of health insurance, but dental problems are one of the things that can kill you the quickest. And put you in the most pain. But no, just in general, there are plenty of things that human beings have not passed down that are actually beneficial for us in our genes. Evolution doesn't work in a way that always passes down the most beneficial things. It just doesn't. And your misunderstanding of that is what's led you into this idea that somehow almost eugenically, evolution would have been washed out of the gene pool. That's not how that works. We don't yet know completely what causes homosexuality. But it also doesn't matter whether it is something that magically we find out one day is a choice. It's not a choice. But even if it ended up being that way, it wouldn't change anything. There's functionally no difference for the gene pool if somebody is a homosexual or if they just never have sex. If they're just completely celibate. If you want to have this problem with homosexuality and you want to say that evolutionists have this problem with homosexuality, then you have to take up the same position with celibate nuns. You have to take up the same position with literally anybody who never has sex ever. And nobody gives a shit if other people aren't having sex, as long as they're not like some nationalist who thinks that white people are being fucked out of existence, great replacement style. As long as they're not that kind of cuckoo crazy, then you don't have this problem. It only exists in your made-up fantasy world, and that's really sad. Because if you're going to exist in a made-up fantasy world, at least exist in one that's fun, where you get superpowers. Not one where elks have to beat the fuck out of their children and you jerk off to it or something. But that's that. Apparently, I, as somebody who agrees with the scientific consensus on evolution, has to be against homosexuality because, infertile people don't exist. That's what I got from that video. And that wasn't a whole lot for me. Maybe for him it's an elk ton, not a truck ton. Or maybe it's for him it's elk coon, not truck coon. Oh my god. Oh my god. Anywho, that was an experience. That was certainly an experience. Guys, if you enjoyed this content, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button on YouTube if you haven't already, and hit follow over on Twitch if you haven't already. If you haven't subscribed to any of the channels I take part on, Suris, which is the one you're probably watching this on right now, Neko Suris, the gaming channel that I'm going to be putting more content on, or Sunset City, where I do Sonic the Hedgehog podcasts with game apologist Wayne Voss and Channel Pup, then you should probably go do all of that right fucking now. With all that said, as always, everyone, thank you for being here, and insert end of video tagline here.